Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps. In our Western culture, seminaries are facing closure, but not so in Nigeria, Africa's most populous country. 15 major seminaries accommodate the growing number of vocations to the priesthood. The number of seminarians increased by 700, bringing the total up to over 3,000. Nigeria's Catholic faith is growing, although the northern part of Nigeria is conducted by Islamic Sharia law, the Christian south mostly by English and traditional law. Joining us today in the studio is Monsignor Kenneth Enang, Rector of the St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary in Makurdi, in the middle of Nigeria. Welcome to our studio today, Monsignor.
Thank you, Marie Pauline.
And how is it possible that so many vocations to the priesthood are in Nigeria at the moment?
First of all, I want to correct your introduction that northern Nigeria is conducted by the Islamic Sharia law. It is not all parts of northern Nigeria. A good number of states in northern Nigeria are conducting that Sharia law, but many states are neutral. Many are still open to the British law, which is fundamental in our own law in Nigeria. Yeah, we have many vocations to the priesthood in Nigeria. We believe this is an act of God's grace and a time for Nigeria to embrace Christianity. And we have so many vocations to the priesthood because our young men were fascinated by what the missionaries did. There were those who preached Christ to us. They were the first ones who baptized us. They were the first ones who directed us in the sacramental life of the church. And there were those who opened schools and made it possible for people like me to go to school. And then were there to open social institutions like hospitals to treat our people and to obey the laws, so carry out the mandate of Christ, go and heal the sick. These were very fascinating issues and achievements which the missionaries brought. And then they told us to try and embrace the priesthood. And since many of them are no more, then many young Nigerians are embracing the priesthood because they know through the priesthood, you will reach to the people. And there are very many Nigerians who are waiting in many corners of our country for Christ. And this is the reason. They want to go and preach. They want to offer their lives to Christ. They want to offer their life to the church. And that's why many are embracing the vocation to the priesthood.
And have you yourself known one of these missionaries, or is that way behind your time?
Not behind my time. I was baptized by the Irish missionaries. Mm-hmm. In our area, we had the St. Patrick Fathers working. The Celtic Fathers, they were called. They baptized me. They baptized my parents. So they opened the school where I started my learning the little things that people learn in the primary school. And then I went to this missionary school, the seminary, junior seminary, where we did all the lessons, and some of them taught us. So in other parts of the country, the SMA fathers were there, like in the western part of Nigeria. Or the northern part, we had the Augustinians, the Spiritans, and some of the eastern parts where we had the Spiritan fathers who were from Ireland and also from in America and Canada. But now we have many Nigerians who have taken over this. So I saw them, I lived them. They encouraged me a lot to go to the priesthood, to embrace the priesthood.
And when did you first feel your vocation that you yourself wanted to become a priest?
Well, when I finished my primary school, the missionaries, I saw their work. And then I did entrance to secondary schools and to become maybe a teacher, maybe something else, or a medical doctor. But then after thought, I said, no, let me do entrance to the seminary. And then I did an entrance to the seminary. And the person who really motivated me to go was our cardinal, the first cardinal of Nigeria, who was our own bishop then. He came to our parish and spoke about vocations. And he encouraged us, and I went because of this.
Can you remember one of his words, what he said at that time?
Yes, he said now, the church in Nigeria is growing. I'm almost alone as the native priests. So we need people like to become priests in order to do what the missionaries have been doing, to help the missionaries. The field is very wide, but the laborers are very few. This fascinated me, and I enjoyed the priesthood.
And how do you yourself now talk about vocations to your own people?
First of all, I'm very privileged, and I thank God for that, for this privilege given to me by the church to train seminarians for the priesthood. I have 450 seminarians in my own seminary. They come from 21 dioceses from the upper part of the country. The seminary is in the middle belt of our country, but many seminarians come from the northern part of our country, and I have some from the east, I have some from the west. So it is a place where many Nigerians stay together, learn together, study together, learn how to live together in peace, according to our motto that all may be one, ut omnes unum sint. So in that way, we break the barriers of ethnicity and tribe in Nigeria. And I take it also to visit dioceses, and then I talk about vocations. I talk about the need to support Nigeria, to support seminarians when they are in training, and also to support priests when they are ordained.
Are there still many differences between the ethnic groups in Nigeria where you get the boys from for the priesthood?
In my seminary in Makurdi, which is in the middle belt of the country, the majority of the seminarians come from this area, the middle belt and the northern part of Nigeria. And it is very fascinating to see that the northern part of Nigeria, even though it's Islamic, we have many seminarians coming from the area. And some even come from families where you have Muslims, come from Muslim families. And their parents, of course, would give the initial resistance, but afterwards they just tell, okay, you can go and become a priest. And we do have about 2 Nigerian bishops who were formerly Muslims, but they didn't come from the northern part of the country. So most of them come from the northern part of our country. And I think I'm very pleased that happens, because the northern part, we all know from history and from the realities on the ground now, is mainly Islamic. But we do have many Catholics. We have 50 million people from the northern part of the country. That's the population. And we have 4 million Catholics from there. That means we still have a lot to do. We have 3 seminaries in the northern part of Nigeria. We have the seminary in Makurdi, we have the seminary in Jos, we have the seminary in Kaduna. So these 3 seminaries work closely together to train the seminarians. The highest number is in Makurdi, of course, but others have so, and they are training, they're doing their best. So we still need to continue our drive to get into the interior part of the area in order to speak to people who are waiting for Christianity, who are waiting for Christ.
But is then the Catholic Church in Nigeria persecuted, if you may call it like that, or not at all?
No, I wouldn't say the Catholic Church is persecuted in Nigeria. Let me take an example, Makurdi, where we are. We are very free, and then the seminarians are not persecuted. We are not persecuted in our own religion. Of course, I wouldn't exclude the possibility of the Christians not given their rights in certain part of the country, especially the northern part of the country. But they are not persecuted. They are not persecuted. The persecution is not the correct word. I would say in some areas they are not given their rights. Let me say, they want to build a church. The government in Islamic won't give them land to build a church. So this is the type of things we face. But outright persecution is not there.
And then a different question. I read that in African families, the firstborn son is very important. Is it then not a big sacrifice for parents when they let their son go to your seminary? Because I read there are about 6 of these boys at your seminary.
Yes, I'm happy you are knowing. You talk about my seminary and you know more about it. Certain things about it. It's true. The first son and the first daughter are very precious in African families. The reason is that when the parents grow old, they will be the first ones to take care of them. And when they are trained, they will come and take care of the younger ones behind them. So this is why they are very, very precious, and they have a lot of privileged positions in the family. When they want to become reverend sisters, as we do have some, or when they want to become priests, as we do have some, the parents, of course, will feel that they are missing something, but are missing something for God. And therefore, they do not get completely disturbed about it. They allow them to go. It's a big sacrifice, I must say. Sacrifice on the part of the parents, sacrifice on the part of the young people who embraced either the religious life or the priesthood.
But do the parents then come to you to talk about this problem for them?
No, they don't come directly to me, but the seminarians I have are all sent by the bishops, so they talk to the bishops directly about that. I have a case, for example, a case that the parents didn't want the seminarian to be a priest, so they did all they could to tell me to send him away. But I said, it depends, that is a free choice. Free choice of the seminarian and free choice of God. If God has chosen him to be a seminarian, to be a priest in the future, we have no right to stop him. If a seminarian wants to be a priest, even though he's the first son, then we have no right to stop him. He feels called to help in evangelization of the people. And we need a lot of primary evangelization, especially in the northern part of our country, where you still have very many who have yet not even embraced Islam, very many who have not embraced Christianity. So we need a lot of primary evangelization.
So there is still evangelization going on in Nigeria?
Obviously, yes. Obviously, yes. It's still going on.
And what do people then believe in who are not Christian or Muslims yet in Nigeria?
We have, before Christianity came to us, or before Islam came, we had our own natural, traditional religion. People believe in one being, that is a being who created the world, a being that created them. They believe in many spirits who are messengers of this one being, highest being in human life. And they believed in spirits. And so it's a spirit-filled world. So these beliefs are still there despite Christianity, of course. So they believed in this. And when Christianity came with the idea of one God, people embraced it. And then instead of a God that we couldn't say this God is like this, we know now is a true God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. So in this way, the African traditional religion was a preparation for the arrival of Christianity.
And is there still a problem of sects going on in Nigeria? That there are many new sects also trying to catch these souls?
Oh, definitely. That is our big problem in Nigeria at the moment. In fact, there are the internal problems of Christianity now. Very many sects from America, very many sects, even some develop on their own. So they believe God has called them to evangelize. They tell you they are preaching the same thing that you are preaching. Some of them have no knowledge of real theology to say they have studied theology. Some read the Bible and go with the Bible to preach and start a church. So then this is a very big problem for us in Nigeria because there are very many.
How do you cope with that problem? Well,
the only thing is down that we know we can do nothing to stop them. Our laws, the laws of the land guarantees freedom of religion, and our own church law does not forbid people from going to the religion they like. So freedom, religious freedom is there. So what we only do is to tell our Catholics, be careful. And know now there is a difference between you, and we say that very, very clearly, this is a church that we believe from history and from the Bible that Christ founded. So therefore, our church is not directed to any, we cannot see anybody as a founder of Catholicism. We have, but these same churches, they call it Akban's church, Udo's church, this one founder, Emmanuel is founder, Deboye is founder, and so on. So we tell them now what Christ himself has founded is authentic. So be careful if you are going to them.
Now let's go back to your own seminary.
Yeah.
You said there were 450 new seminarists coming this year. Do you have enough place to accommodate all these new students?
No, not the new who are coming this year. That is a total number now. Mm-hmm. We have philosophy for 3 years, theology for 4 years. So for the students in these 7 years, we have this number, 450. 400 are presently living inside the compound. We provide accommodation and take care of them. About 50 are Augustinians. They have their own place built very close to the seminary. They only send their students to receive lectures from us. Yeah, the seminary in Makurdi is new, I would say, because it was only 2002 that the Holy See sent a letter to the bishops and to me, appointing me as the rector of the new seminary. So it's new. We are encountering a lot of problems there, like sufficient accommodation, which we don't have, sufficient lecture halls, which we don't have. We are battling with infrastructure that there is no telephone and no internet in this modern age. So we do have water now, and we have our own generator. These are there, but the other things are not sufficient. We have no chapel. The chapel we have was built by the Irish missionaries many years ago in the 60s for the seminarians, junior seminarians who were in that seminary, who were there to train and as secondary school boys. When they finished, then they decided to go on to the priesthood or not to go on to the priesthood. So then, in this sense, our seminary in Makurdi is new. Then 2002, we got the letter to make it a full-fledged seminary, because before this, since 1986, it was a satellite seminary of Jos. When the students finished there, the bishops who sent the students there, when they finished philosophy, the students who were there were either sent by their bishops straight to Jos, or they were sent to other seminaries. Now, it was only 2002 that we had this merge. Now, philosophy started, theology, philosophy was already there, theology started, and this is the 4th year, and the next year will be the 4th year of it, and then we shall have the first ordination of 32 students, which is a joy for us. So the seminary still needs a lot of improvement, a lot to be built, because the lecture halls, we have were built for the junior seminary, that is secondary school, is not suitable for lectures as we have in modern times and in modern time. Accommodation is still a big problem, and we don't have enough.
Another problem, when we hear of Nigeria, we think of the victims of AIDS like in many other African countries. What can you tell us about that problem?
Yeah, we do have that. AIDS is a reality in Nigeria. Before I went to Makurdi, I was in Abuja, and I was in charge of the cathedral. In that cathedral parish where I stayed, the pro-cathedral, I would say, we had many AIDS cases. We had some families that died of AIDS. So that motivated me to call up and have a large international conference in June 2002, before I left for the seminary, to talk about it very openly with the people. And we had people from all parts of the country and also from other African countries. We exchanged experiences. We knew that AIDS is real in Nigeria, and something has to be done about it.
And what is that something that you can do about it?
First, the enlightenment that AIDS is real, because still many don't believe there is AIDS.
Uh-huh.
Many don't believe. So enlightenment of the people that AIDS is there. Now, also not to hide cases of AIDS, but to handle it in such a way that the people are not exposed to ridicule outside. To tell the people now, AIDS can come to anybody. Anybody can get AIDS. We told them the different ways. It's not only through heterosexual intercourse that people have AIDS. They can get it through unhygienic situations, or blood transfusion in hospitals, blood which is not screened. So it initiated then, I initiated in that parish a group of people to take care of the AIDS victims and also to advise the young people. So these are the things. And then we have then these drugs that are coming up. So we tried to liaise with government, because government had a lot of support from America and from the EU to see that the AIDS victims received these drugs. So we tried to liaise with government to make sure that we come into stream with the distribution. So then in the diocese has also its program, because we know we have to combat it, and the enlightenment to change the lifestyle of people, which is very, very important.
But that must be the most difficult, to change the lifestyle.
It is difficult, especially when people are used to it, to this particular lifestyle.
And what is this particular lifestyle you're
Well, if people are not
about?
faithful to their partners, that's what I mean by that. And if the young men would want to experiment with different types of girls or different types of boys before they get married, in this way they get the AIDS. So it is then a question of knowing the priorities of life, faithfulness in marriage, waiting till it is your time to marry. Then you marry one person and be faithful to the person. And also where you have the cases that people have to still accept the AIDS victims with love and care and help them when possible.
Do you think the Catholic Church is able to do all this work?
Well, we are doing the best we can to do it. And I think we are in the forefront. In Nigeria, we are in the forefront of doing the work. Every diocese has its committee working on that. And we have 52 dioceses in Nigeria. The parishes develop also its committee where they are able to do. And the Conference of Catholic Bishops in Nigeria is working assiduously to see that this is combated. And then all the AIDS victims are assisted.
And is Nigeria now getting ready to be a missionary country for the rest of Africa?
Yes, we are. First of all, we know that we have to have our own inland mission. We don't have a seminary where we train people, or a group we train people for our own inland mission. For example, we need many, many priests as those to help us in the primary evangelization in many parts of the country. I take an example, the Diocese of Sokoto, with 11 million population, Catholics, non-Catholics, with 23,000 Catholics alone, and 32 priests. That's very, very small. There are other places in Nigeria with booming vocations, like the eastern part of the country. Makurdi has a very good number for the priesthood. So we need then to send missionaries, people out to different parts of our own country. But if we had our own seminary for internal mission, homeland mission, it would be very, very good. We do have, Nigeria is ready for that, for helping to go into become a missionary country. Number one, we have the Missionary Seminary of St. Paul, it's national seminary. I taught there for many years before I took over the rectorship of the seminary in Makurdi. We have that, and we send missionaries to many parts of Africa and the United States, and then also to Europe. We believe that we should also share in the missionary work of the church, because the church is in itself missionary. It has to continue being missionary, otherwise it just dies out. We have apart from people from this missionary seminary, congregations of sisters and the religious brothers and priests who have missionaries, which have missionaries in other parts of Africa. Like we have sisters in Kenya, have sisters in Uganda, we have sisters in priests, missionaries in South Africa, and some in Cameroon. So we are prepared for that. And we are doing something too. We are really becoming very, very missionary minded.
So the Catholic faith is very vivid in Nigeria.
It is. One can see that the liveliness of the Catholic faith in Nigeria, in the liturgy, for example.
Can you give an example of the liturgy that is vivid?
The liturgy is very, very vivid and very, very lively. If you attend church in America or the church here in Europe, you see now that the church will finish within the next, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour longest. And last week I was invited to preach during my professor's golden jubilee of his priesthood, that I preached for 20 minutes. And I noticed that people were beginning to look at that black man. Why is he standing to preach for so long? So the mass was a bit longer than the usual 45 minutes. Anyway, so in Africa, the joy, we want to really celebrate. And a celebration is not a thing that you do for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you are going to a feast, you want to have a feast with your friends, it's not a thing that you celebrate for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 1 hour. You need really to celebrate and feel happy that you are celebrating it. That is what our liturgy is. Liturgy is a feast of thanksgiving. We give to God a feast of adoration. So such things, you don't pack them into 1 hour. So at times our liturgy can last for 2 to 3 hours. People dance when they are bringing the gifts. People dance when they are doing the offertory procession. And then they feel happy. They feel that they are with God, and God is the source of my joy. And why shouldn't I enjoy it when I'm in the church? There, at least I can channel out some of the big problems I have during the day, and so on. So the liturgy is very lively. People dance, people play, people have their drums, and are quite happy.
And do you see a big difference with our Western church then when you come here and celebrate Mass?
Yeah, I do see the difference. The difference is now that the church here is very, maybe it depends upon the program and the mentality of the people. It's very short and cold too. But there we have a more lively liturgy. And it doesn't mean that people must stay in the church throughout the day, but they are quite lively and happy. That's the difference.
Thank you, Monsignor Kenneth Enang, for being with us today in the studio and sharing with us the vivid Catholic faith that is growing in Nigeria and giving so many new vocations to the Catholic Church.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching our program. And if you want to know how you can help the Catholic Church in Nigeria, please log on to our website posted at the end of the program. We hope to see you again next week. Take care.